Thank you for tuning in and watching some of these recorded videos. MCH is trying to make sure we get regional interviews from across the state that highlights the importance of our advocacy in ending homelessness. And our special guest today is Rose Surma, who is the Executive Director at Oasis Central Minnesota, which is in Morrison County. And they do amazing work. And just so thankful that, Rose, you're able to be here. So we're just going to dive right in. And the first question that I have for you is, how does the need for more emergency shelter beds impact you and your community?
Well, thank you for having me. Without more shelter beds in our community, it's a huge impact. We have individuals and families that are living in dangerous situations. They're outdoors, they're in tents, campers, fish houses, vehicles, or they're doubled up with other households where they're very vulnerable to exploitation. In addition to that, we do not have a domestic violence shelter in our community. So we do see many families and individuals that are experiencing domestic violence and can potentially be faced with the decision of staying in that unsafe household or becoming homeless. So providing emergency shelter can not only change lives, but it really saves lives.
Thank you. Yes. So our follow-up question to that is, how does the need for more resources at shelters, like how does the need for those resources impact your organization and your community?
Sure. So providing safe shelter is sort of the first step, but we really feel like shelter is more than four walls and a roof. That individuals and families that come and need shelter really benefit from having support services. And we feel investing in these support services really provides increased outcomes of success for families and individuals to transition and maintain safe, stable, permanent housing, but also that these supportive services are an investment into our community. They help to build a reliable workforce, reduce the strain on emergency services and emergency health departments, reduce strain on law enforcement and jail systems, and also for our children, increase student successes for the school-age children. So it really helps to build a strong, healthy community.
Thank you. Thank you for that insight. So the final question is, do you just have any closing words, maybe a story or something that you want to share with us that really highlights the need?
Sure. So homelessness is really a complex issue, and it really affects people so deeply. And it's so important. And the consequences of not having shelter for individuals and families is so big. I have one story several years ago when we first started doing this work. I had a family that came in that didn't have shelter. And I worked with them, and because of the limited resources in our community, I didn't have a place to put them for that particular night, which is, I just can't describe the feeling of looking at someone and telling them that. And to really sort of build off of that, and what really sort of made it, personally impactful, is that same day I had to pick my kids up from the elementary school, and as I'm waiting for them, the family that I had worked with was also standing there waiting for their children, and it was heartbreaking to think that they, picking their kids up, had nowhere to go for that evening, and the worry that they have. So we were eventually able to get them shelter, but our resources are limited, and we really need to build more for ourselves and across the state so that families aren't in those situations.
Well, thank you, Rose, and thank you for all the work that you do and for working with MCH to advocate for these needed resources and more shelter beds. So again, thank you. And for everybody watching, hopefully you can take something from this to help your advocacy as well.